Yo, what's up guys? You got II here today, back again, once again, bringing you another division matches for TMT4. And if you're wondering why it's just me this time, it's because it is my penance. Originally, I had Illusion and Greg with me, but unfortunately, when I went to press record on OBS, probably about 30 minutes ago, the file became corrupted, and for some odd reason, the video did not record properly, and to be honest, I was the only one willing to redo this again, and I really don't blame him. So this is probably going to be a bit worse than the original commentary was, so I apologize for that, especially since it's just going to be me this time. But I'm most likely going to go over these faster than I normally would because, as I said before, we kind of already talked about misplays and such on pretty much all the replays. But with that being said, I will just hop right into the match. So first up, we have Team BDG versus the Asian Jigglypuffs. Now, Team BDG has Mega Latios, Tapu Bulu, Z Kartana, Toxapex, Necrozma, Hippowdon, Magnezone, Mimikyu, and Hawlucha. And the Asian Jigglypuffs have Mewinium Z, not Z, but they have Mew as their Zmon, Mega Charizard X, Kartana, Milotic, Landorus Incarnate with the Sandforce, Raikou, Whimsicott, Miltank, and Alolan Ninetales. Again, I apologize if I slur my words or just make some commentary that makes no sense. Absolutely. It's because it's pretty late right now, but I need to get this done. I want to get this done, so here it is. Now, Mega Charizard X definitely has potential to win this matchup. Mega Latios can do a lot as well. I see them having a tough time breaking down Hippo if it's like physically defensive or even specially defensive. Mega Zard X can't really do much to it besides maybe Wisp it if it is a bulky Zard. One of the main issues I see for BDG's team is maybe a sub Leech Seed Whimsicott set, but other than that, another thing that catches my eye is offensive Necrozma. I could see that putting in a lot of work as well as maybe sub Combine Raikou. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So they lead Toxapex as Landorus comes out. Not sure about this play here. Toxapex can in general live any one hit. Could be shook up, although since they switched out, it's probably not. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier was that T-Spikes kind of destroy their team. So we'll see if they try to get those up pronto. So they go Mew here. It's probably going to be a default set by the looks of it. Landorus comes out as Hippowdon obviously just gets up rocks. Not sure why they switched out. I expected more of like a Will-O-Wisp or a Toxic on the Mew, but I guess they were trying to dodge an Earthquake that wasn't coming. Not sure about that. Anyway, Landorus goes for the U-turn as Mew comes back out, probably to defog, as Earthquake tend to do pretty much nothing. So we know that it's defensive Mew from that damage, but Necrozma can come in, and if it's like Specs Dark Pulse, it's just going to blow this thing back. Could be Colbur Mew. That's definitely something I could see. Or maybe knock off Kartana. But yeah, that's definitely Specs damage at this point. So they go Miltank here. Probably want to get up rocks, but Miltank can seemingly take that on. Unless they go for Photon Geyser. Not sure about that play. If I were them, I might have wanted to try to get up rocks ASAP. Although, looking at it again, BDG's team doesn't really get hurt by rocks that much. I don't know. It seems that BDG's team can really pressure their opponents if they get up Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks. So they're going to be wanting to, the Asian Jigglypuffs are going to be wanting to defog as soon as possible. But let's see if that's the route they choose. So they go for Toxic Spikes, and yep, they're going to force Mew to defog, definitely. But now, looks like Specs Necrozma can just come in and wreck shop. So let's see if they go for Photon Geyser, predicting something. Yep. So Raikou took a hell of a lot of damage there, as they're going to switch out into Hippo. Hippo is pretty much always a switch into Raikou. I thought they'd Toxic there. I really don't think Thunderbolt was the play. Mainly because Latios can easily take that and come in. Same with Magnezone, and especially same with Hippo. Hippowdon can pretty much take on most Raikou sets. Unless it's like a Magnet Rise Raikou, which it doesn't appear to be. But Hippowdon's going to get up Stealth Rocks. as Necrozma can just come in and freely click Dark Pulse. Like they Asian Jigglypuffs have no answer to Specs Necrozma, but who really does, right? Who really does? Anyway, they're gonna sack Raikou here, which is fair. Raikou really doesn't do much this match. As Miltank comes in, Miltank can take Dark Pulse. Something to note is that I'm not sure why BDG brought Sand, but mainly because they have Sand Force Landers. So if it was like an offensive Sand Force Landers, I believe it would have done a lot more damage to his team at the moment, assuming they played it correctly. They could be scarfed, I guess, but I feel like a Rock Polish Swords Dance set would have been better in this scenario. I don't know. But they're going to double into Toxapex here, as they're going to go back into Magnezone. Not sure what Magnezone's going to do to this, besides maybe Toxic or Flash Cannon. And they do go for the Toxic, yeah, okay. Synchronized does not affect Steel types. So they go for the Volt Switch. Not sure if that was the play. I think Flash Cannon, it doesn't really matter. So they go into Hippo. Hippo can also take hits from Landers, because it appears to be mainly used for momentum. As Whimsicott comes out, and I'm surprised it's not Leftovers. Thought it would be sub Leech Seed originally. So they go Toxapex, and now they can get up another Toxic Spikes, and that's going to still put a lot of pressure on their team. So they stay in this time to recover, to probably expecting them to go for a U-turn, but they live that easily, even with the sand up. So that's something. Wow, that is a lot. So now, if they got a spit F drop, Hippo would have definitely gone down, but they did not, and they can easily slack off again. Let's see what they do. So they go into Mew, probably trying to defog. Not sure why they went into Zard in the first place, but so they should always. Okay, so they're doubling into Latios. Yep, and now it's revealed that it's Scarf Landers. So Latios should always click Psychic here, but they go for a Draco. Don't agree with that play. Mew was already Toxic, so Mew wasn't really doing much. They go for Stun Spore, trying to catch it off guard, but there's no scenario where you should have stayed in with Mega Latios. So now Mew comes in, and I don't think Mew can touch Magnezone unless it's Earthquake or Earth Power, which I don't think it is. I think they would have gone for it earlier when Magnezone Toxic Mew. But yeah, now I think Latios should be dropping Psychics instead of Draco Meteors. Let's see what they do. See, no. There's no way they were staying with Mew that was Toxic. And it seems like Mew can't touch Latios at all at this point in the game. So Landers comes out, as they don't want to risk an Earth Power hitting them. So they go into Hippo, as Landers just U-turns out of there. And they go into Zard. And I'm not sure why they go into Zard. Hippo could easily have the Stone Edge or the Whirlwind. I guess it could have been Willow, Charizard X, but even then, I think he would have gone for it earlier. But now Necrozma, now Specs Necrozma just comes in and clicks the Photon Geyser. Hoping to see Prismatic Laser, but I doubt it. Photon Geyser does a clean amount to Miltank, and because Miltank is faster, I expect it to be a bit of a speedy variant, at least more so than Necrozma, obviously. But Magnezone can come in, and unless Miltank is Earthquake, it's not going to be touching Magnezone, and it is Earthquake. But now Magnezone gets off a Toxic, and unless Miltank is Heal Bell, it's not going to be doing much. But they get a Rock, so I'm pretty sure it's confirmed not Heal Bell now, or it will be later. So they make the right play and always go for the Scald there. They could have stayed in because the Sandstorm was not up that turn, so they would have been able to live in Earth Power easier than they did before and Scalded. But regardless, now Latios can just click a Psychic move and things start to drop. So now they make the correct play and switch. Mega Latios is the only thing preventing their team from being beaten by Scarf, Sheer Force, Earth Power. Not Sheer Force, sorry. Sand Force, Earth Power. So now they go Mew, and I'm not sure Mew can touch this Toxapex. We'll find out. But they go into Necrozma, and they decide to get on the kill. So props to them. They should be clicking Dark Pulse here, as they do have the Psychic. But Dark Pulse is going to do a clean amount of damage, allowing Toxic to pick it off. So well done on their part. Yeah, no real point in keeping Necrozma around at that point in the match because everything else outsped it. And now they get momentum. So they go into Hippo, probably to get Rocks up. Yep, definitely to get Rocks up. forcing Charizard not to switch out as often as it could have. So now they're going to go into Pex, and unless Charizard X has the Thunder Punch or Earthquake, it's not going to be doing much. I expect the Haze to come out soon, but they have the Thunder Punch. Okay. I think Earthquake might have been better in this scenario, at least. But regardless, I'm surprised they're not Mega Evolving. At this point, it seems like it's the end game for them. I can see why, I guess, because they don't want to be hurt by Hippowdon's Earthquake. But even then, they need the damage output. They need to... I can understand it, but at the same time, it's not going to beat Pex plus Hippo, and there's the crit. Now Sand is just going to kill it at this point, so... Unless they roost, of course, but they go for the Thunder Punch. Crit, get the kill. And now they can go into Hippo, and they can Slack Off or they can Earthquake. Assuming they actually go for Roost. They go for the Earthquake, though. Killing off the Charizard X, but now Landers can come out, and they have to go for Earth. They have to go for U-turn at this point because they are locked in, and if Latios comes in, it gets a kill. So good play on their part. That's a necessary play. Hippo should have stayed in, so that was good. They can go into Kartana easily because now we know what the Miltank set is. It's Earthquake, Toxic, Milk Drink, and the Stealth Rocks. And Kartana pretty much just wins the game, even if Miltank is the Sap Sipper at this point, because it is the Kartana, and Miltank is not going to take a +1 Sacred Sword at this point, or even Smart Strike. So, you know, good game to BDG. I think they originally had much of the matchup. They seem to be pressured by Toxic Spikes a lot. It'll be interesting to see if they fix that issue with the coming up matches, but regardless, very good game. And moving on, we are on to Greg's team. So now it's the TMT Cucksuckers versus BDG. And the Cucksuckers, I believe, have Landers Therian as their Zemon, Torn T, Rotom-Wash, Hoopa Unbound, Nihilego, Snorlax, Kartana, Mega Gardevoir, and Como-O. Now, in the previous recording, Greg went over what their team was, and I'll be honest, I only remember some of it. I do know that this Hoopa Unbound is Sash Trick Room. I believe they are Flamethrower Snorlax for the Kartana. I think they're Assault Vest. I think they're also Psyche MZ, Landers Therian. And then their Calm Mind Gardevoir. Don't remember what the Tornadus set is. Rotom is, I believe, defensive with Hidden Power Fire, maybe? I think it's Hidden Power Fire for the Kartana. Volt Switch, obviously, for like Lucha and stuff. But let's see what they do. Let's see what they bring. So they lead Hoopa Unbound versus Magnezone, and I believe Greg told me in the last recording that he wanted to switch because he wanted to preserve the Sash at the time. So they go hard into Landers as Magnezone just Flash Cannon. So good play on BDG's part, but as we find out, they're probably not Scarfed. I don't think, yeah. So Landers Therian, I believe, isn't Scarfed, so that makes Magnezone not Scarfed in regards to speed. Anyway, so Rotom-Wash is they're switching. I expect both to Volt Switch at this point, but Cucksuckers predict something to come out, and they go for Toxic as Magnezone just Flash Cannons. And at this point in the match, I do remember Greg telling me that they thought they were specs, but it turns out the Magnezone is actually analytic. And this actually goes on for like 6 turns or so, surprisingly. Each of them trying to flex on the other. Both can take L's for that, I guess. But that Hydro Pump is going to be doing almost over half. And now I expect Magnezone to want to Volt Switch out at this point. Or Thunderbolt, I guess. So they're going to Thunderbolt. Magnezone can't really do much at this point to anything else on their team. So Kartana is going to come out, and Kartana doesn't have very good switch-ins. They have Tornadus, and Tornadus gets crit, right? So now, if Kartana is Scarfed, they pretty much have to switch out, because then another Leaf Blade will kill the Tornadus. And bound here, predicting Stealth Rocks, I believe. And this is actually Trick Room Hoopa, so I'm excited to see if this thing can actually pull stuff off. So it goes for Trick Room there, as Necrozma actually reveals to be slower. So I'm guessing they're not min speed Hoop Unbound, but what's really cool about Hoop Unbound's ability is they were able to steal the leftovers off of Necrozma. Not sure how much that mattered, but from the looks of it, Hoop Unbound may be a bit speedy, and Tababulu actually outspeed. So I'm guessing they didn't run min speed Hoop Unbound, but they go Landorus and then they double out into Torn, probably to get some health back, and I guess they calculate to live a Wood Hammer. But now they have to connect a Hurricane, and they do, and they get the Confusion, but they break free and go for the Horn Leech, killing the Tornadus off. Now that is definitely confirmed Assault Vest. So, okay, so we talked about this play in the recording that got botched a bit. So their thought process was to go into Rotom Wash to get rid of one turn of grassy terrain, sack it off, and then go into Mega Gardevoir and Trick Room. Except, so originally Greg told Illusion and I that the Gardevoir was Trick Room as well. Turns out, towards the end, he remembered it wasn't, so the thought process was convoluted, but that basically, this play didn't make sense to me. Anyway, they go for the Devour Fire as Mega Latios comes out, as it always should or could, as they go for the Shadow Ball, expecting the Gardevoir to come out, as Rotom Wash then proceeds to Toxic. At this point, Rotom's just being sacked off. It won't live anything from Hawlucha at that point. So now they can go into Snorlax, I believe, and let's see what they do. They go for the Belly Drum. Okay, wrong Snorlax set. My bad. So they're not Flamethrower. I take that back. I don't know why they go for the Belly Drum there, because Hawlucha can easily just Jump Kick at that point. There's no Trick Room for Snorlax. Anyway, Gardevoir can come in, and Gardevoir can go for the Hyper Voice, killing whatever comes in at this point. Not sure why they didn't get Bulu earlier, just to get the Grassy Seed for the Hawlucha, but Hyper Voice kills that thing off. Kartana can now just clean up. I do remember their thought process now. So BDG was thinking that they couldn't kill Gardevoir with the Leaf Blade, so they need the grassy terrain in order to do so, and that is how they thought out the end game there. Anyway, good game to both. Those Magnezone and Rotom Wash plays were a bit weird, but other than that, I didn't see too many misplays, I guess. Anyway, on to the next match. So next up we have Team BDG versus the AIDS Doctors. Now, the AIDS Doctors have Z-Garchomp, Mega Gardevoir, Heatran, Rotom Wash, Azumarill, Celebi, Crobat, Sneasel, and Beware. And looking at the matchup, I could see Kartana doing a lot this match. I could also see Mimikyu cleaning in the in-game. Mega Gardevoir for the AIDS Doctors could definitely put in a lot of work. Good Hyper Voice switch-ins at all. And I guess Heatran could do stuff too if they get rid of Latios. Anyway, let's hop right into the match. So they lead Azumarill as opposing BDG lead Latios, and they both double out. Gardevoir comes out, and obviously you don't want to stand with top spec, so they go into Bulu, and I'm expecting maybe Assault Vest. Probably Assault Vest. Otherwise, why else would you bring it in? As they go for the Nature's Madness, good play on their part. Probably expecting maybe Sapsip or Alzu to come out, or Heatran. Anyway, they go into the Toxapex, and it turns out to be a Whirlpool Alzu, which is very interesting. We don't see a leftovers on either, as Alzu goes for the Parasite. Ooh, as Toxapex goes for the Infestation.
You know.
So they're both technically trapped, unless they have the Shed Shell, which the Azumarill does, which is crazy. So Toxapex goes for knockoff, trying to get the Shed Shell off. If only they had done that a turn earlier, but now Toxapex can freely Scald. Rotom, it's probably not going to go for the Volt Switch, as it doesn't do much, but now Toxapex needs to switch. Freest Volt Switch of Rotom's life. He does so, and now Latios is out versus Sneasel. Could be Pursuit Trapped, is not Pursuit Trapped, as it is revealed to be Life Orb, but Kartana took that relatively well. If it's Scarf Kartana, it will be able to kill, as they go for the Sacred Sword. Yeah, Azu is not leftovers, so it's not going to be getting recovery, which is why I'm not sure why they went for the protect there, but they do. Latios goes for the Thunderbolt, which does nothing to Gardevoir. I'm guessing it's Spadef. Toxapex comes out, Heatran comes out. Heatran goes for the Stealth Rocks as they go for the Infestation, trapping the Heatran. Although I'm not sure if that's going to do much, considering Heatran probably has the Earth Power, which it does. Toxapex goes for the knockoff, getting rid of the Shucca Berry. Probably because it was fearing the Latios' Earthquake, but Latios can come out. As a Gardevoir can switch in, and Gardevoir's not switching in again after that, so that's interesting. Gardevoir's probably just going to not... Ooh, Wish. Very good play on their part, as they can now... Ooh, see, in that scenario, Hyper Voice was always the play. Not sure why they didn't do that, but... Now Azumarill can die to Kartana. I'm guessing it's Scarf, maybe. But Heatran can come out. Ooh, it's not Scarfed. So, they should have scouted for that, definitely. But now Sneasel can come out and finish off the Kartana. So they pretty much sacked Heatran for no reason there. But now Toxapex is out, and Sneasel cannot break Toxapex without Swords Dance. And it appears they probably do not have Swords Dance, but Gardevoir can always come in. Go for the side shot, killing the Toxapex. And AV Bulu can come in, claim a kill. Or close to a kill. As that does a ton to Garchomp. Turns out they're not defensive, but now Bulu is in range of any hit from Gardevoir, as well as Sneasel. But Hawlucha comes in, getting the Grassy Seed as Garchomp goes for the Poison Jab. Trying to get the Poison. Unsuccessful, though, as Hawlucha just goes for the Acrobatics. Not sure if that was the play. Garchomp, I believe. 1 second. So there were a couple plays they could have made. AIDS doctors could have made, assuming they were like Roar Garchomp or Dragon Tail. They could have gone for that. I'm trying to debate if SD was the play or not. So if they go for Swords Dance, high jump kick most likely kills Rotom from that range and pretty much wins them the game. However, if they were Roar or Dragon Tail, I'm not sure. I guess it was a 50-50. But regardless, it turned out they're Roost, as they do go for the Acrobatics that turn, and then they go for the Roost next turn. So that happens as Rotom Volt switches out. And Gardevoir comes in, and Gardevoir claims a kill with Hyper Voice. As it turns out, they forgot the unburdened Hawlucha. So that's definitely an L on BDG's part. If they were unburdened, it might have been a different game. But regardless, Shadow Ball is going to do nothing to Gardevoir at that point, as they're able to kill off the Latios. Now Mimikyu comes out, and Mimikyu is their pretty much only saving grace at this point. But again, even if they Swords Dance, odds are they weren't going to win. Life Orb Sneasel is going to be able to kill the Mimikyu off this turn, I believe, because Sneasel takes +2 Shadow Sneaks. So Shadow Knockoff does that much, kills the Mimikyu, and now Bulu is the only one left to die to an Ice Shard. Or a Hidden Power Fire. Probably for the Cardano. So, yeah, definitely good game to Age Doctors. I think some of their Gardevoir plays were a bit whack. Hidden Power Fire on Sneasel was cool tech. Unfortunately, he didn't get to kill the Kartana, but it is what it is. Trying to think of ways maybe the BDG team could have come on top. Maybe they Toxic Spiked. Toxic Spikes could have definitely done something to the other team, assuming they didn't default with Rotom. But maybe if they pressured Rotom enough, they could have forced everything else out to be poisoned. Well, regardless, good game to both. And moving on to the next match. So now we have Team BDG versus the Heatrannies. Now, the Heatrannies have the Mega Glade, Heatran, Amoonguss, Z-Elements, Azumarill, Cofagrigus, Jolteon, Sneasel, and Mudsdale. So let's see what they decide to do. Again, I apologize, guys, if I'm moving a bit fast. As I said earlier, we already recorded this once, and yeah, that pretty much explains it all. So they both, so Heatrannies lead their team mascot Heatrans as they go for the taunt, and I'm surprised at that because Necrozma could have easily gone for the Earthquake or Earth Power that turn 1, but scouting for it next turn they go into Salamence and they do see the Earth Power, so good play on their part. Now they go into Sneasel, trying to hard counter the Hippowdon. Nope, that's not going to work. Hippo easily goes for Stealth Rocks there, as Toxapex can pretty much take on Amoonguss for days. As now the Heatran comes out, and once again another infestation set. So I'm guessing they really love the infestation, but that's still not going to do much to Heatran, especially if it's the Trapper set. But Latios comes out, and they're going to have to scout for the Earthquake or not, but they do scout for it using the Protect, which was a definitely good play on their part. Now Latios should always go for the Earthquake again, and the Heatran should switch out as they do, and they go into Azumarill, and it seems to be more of a bulky variant this time. As Toxapex comes out, they go for the Whirlpool, and it actually turns out to be Leftovers Azumarill, so interesting set on their part. But they burn Azumarill, which is very good for them, as Whirlpool is continuously hurting the Toxapex. Now, something to note here is that I'm pretty sure the Toxapex is a Shed Shell, just like the previous game. And it is. There go Latios. Not sure why they switched out when they could have gotten rid of Azumarill by staying in until the last turn because of the infestation, but to each their own. So Latios goes for the Earthquake as Azumarill goes for the Parashong one more time. So Latios will eventually need to switch out as they double into Heatran, but they go for the Roost. I expect Heatran to probably go for a Protect here, so maybe they switch out as they actually goes for the Stealth Rock, so very good play by the Heatrannies. So now they're going to sack off the Azumarill to an Earthquake and burn, and that looks like to be a... Ooh, the rest Azumarill. Interesting. So they go Toxapex, but now rest Azu can pretty much... well, no, see, if they had remained in when Toxapex, if Toxapex had remained in when they trapped Azumarill, Azu would be gone. So maybe that's their only way to get rid of it at this point, besides other threats. But Heatran comes out as it also goes for the infestation one more time. But Heatran is still going to be able to hurt Toxapex as they go for the recover. But again, Heatran's not going to be able to beat Toxapex this time because Toxapex does have the Scald. So at this point, Heatran is just trying to get a burn. I can understand that. I assume they don't have the Earth Power, otherwise they wouldn't be going for Lava Plume. But Toxapex's taunt ends as they can now go into Gallade. But the opposing team has switch-ins. They have Necrozma, they have Hippo. So not sure why. And I believe the Gallade might be Necrozma might be Thunder Wave. So knowing this, I believe they switch out. I don't remember when it was revealed earlier, but I think they knew they had Thunder Wave. So Toxapex comes out and versus Amoonguss as they go for the infestation one more time. As now a Spore comes out. Okay. So Latios is pretty much always a switch in. Giga Drain is going to do nothing. Sneasel can come out, I suppose. I guess. Psyshock is going to do a hell of a ton to Amoonguss. But not enough. Especially because Latios didn't set up, so pretty much a wasted turn. But they can roost off that damage. As Azumarill is not going to be wanting to take multiple Psyshocks, especially if it's asleep. So now they're going to go into Sneasel, expecting a Psyshock again, which they do go for. But Latios is not going to have any of that. Is going to switch out into the Hippowdon. And when Hippowdon is your Ice Resist, you have a problem. But I guess they're just sacking it off at this point. Not sure why. I guess they could have gone Toxapex, but Scarf Kartana is looking like it's going to clean anyway. So maybe that's why. Trying to get some Life Orb damage, but Sneasel's gone. As Gallade is gone as well. I don't believe the crit mattered if they were adamant. But Azu is not going to take one. And neither is the Salamence or the Amoonguss. So good game to BDG. Not sure about the Hippo sack. but I think you played your cards right. Also not sure about the misplay with the... Actually, I'm sure that was a misplay with Toxapex and not getting rid of Azumarill earlier. But regardless, you know, good game to both of them. And on to the next match. So next up we have Team BDG versus the 95 Bulls. Now the 95 Bulls have Tapu Koko, Mega Magikarp, Gengar, Tyranitar, Z Excadrill, Mandibuzz, Snorlax, Slowbro, and the Kyurem. So, looking at their team, I'm not sure why they chose Z Excadrill over Z Koko. In my opinion, you know, I think you should always choose Z Koko over Z Excadrill, but to each their own. Medicham looks like a huge threat. Their only real high jump kick switch in is the Mimikyu. I don't see them taking down Mandibuzz without it being a huge problem. I mean, I don't see BDG taking down Mandibuzz without it being an issue. Scarf Gengar could prove good. What else? Kyurem could also be Scarf. Koko might not do much this match, but who knows? Who knows? So let's just hop right into the match. So they lead Kyurem as the opposing team leads Latios. So if they stay in, they're probably Scarf or Habanberry, and they are Scarfed. But Mega Latios likes to drop Dracos, and drop a Draco did. So now they switch out into Hippo to take a Shadow Ball, and if it was Specs, it would have done over half. So it's most likely a Scarf or an Expert Belt Gengar, judging from that damage. So that's going to be doing a lot of damage. So it's going to be enough to 2KO Hippo, as they should Shadow Ball again. But no, they go for the Energy Ball, as it turns out to be Balloon Magnezone, which is pretty interesting. But the Spadef is lowered, so if they wanted to go for Focus Miss, they could have and potentially killed. Now Drill comes out, though, as that goes for the Substitute. Not sure about that play, but Psychic is going to be enough to break it as they go for the Earthquake. But now Cortana can come out, but easy counter in Mandibuzz as they go for the Leaf Blade. Turns out to be Leftovers, not Rocky Helmet, so maybe U-Turn's coming out now, or Foul Play. Okay. So now they have to switch out, obviously, as I guess Drill can come out. Yep. If they're in Power Fire, they will kill the Excadrill. They are Magnet Rise. Ooh, that's cool. They're going to go for the sub there, as Mega Medicham is going to Drain Punch away the sub, as the Thunderbolt is going to do a ton to Medicham, but Zinheba is going to be able to pick it off. Interesting. But Kartana can come out and clean up if Mandibuzz was not there. So slowly but surely they are putting it in range of Z Smart Track, though, so that's also something to note. Maybe a Taunt's going to come out from the Mandibuzz. That could definitely happen. Yep, Taunt. So Hippo is pretty much useless at this point. I expect another Foul Play maybe, or a U-Turn if they do have it. Nope, they go for the Toxic. Okay. But even then, Tapu Bulu still has a tough time breaking Mandibuzz. So they're going to go into Excadrill, I guess, sacking it off. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, we're going to go into Hippo, but it's not going to take a Tectonic Rage very well. And yeah, so Tectonic Rage obviously goes through the grassy terrain, as they can now once again go into Mandibuzz. But Mandibuzz, I believe, is not going to take a Z Smart Strike. And Kartana could potentially clean if they didn't have Gengar or the Tapu Koko. So Bulu's going to come out once more, as it's going to take a Shadow Ball. Not very well, but it's going to take it. Toxic is definitely going to rack up eventually, but as I mentioned earlier, Gengar is most likely Expert Belt, so it's just going to be able to switch moves on him. As they go for the Shadow, Mimikyu goes for the Shadow Sneak, killing the Gengar. And it's becoming closer than I thought it was, so they can go into Medicham and Bullet Punch. Mimikyu could SD here. Yep. I'm not sure if that was the play. Medicham most likely outspeeds Mimikyu and will always have priority Bullet Punch. But Tapu Koko is not going to be able to kill the Mimikyu, I believe. Unless it's like a Specs variant, because we already know it's not Z. So not sure about these couple plays, but Shadow Sneak is going to kill the Excadrill. Bullet Punch will most likely kill the Mimikyu if they do outspeed, and let's see if they do. But they actually go into Kartana, interesting enough, which is a good play on their part because now they're choosing to stack. Okay, right here, Bullet Punching again was a misplay, because if Kartana was substitute, then they would have been able to kill next turn, and Medicham wouldn't have had anything to break the sub. Or not break the sub, but if they had substituted after the Bullet Punch, Medicham didn't have any priority to break the sub. Anyway, I'm sorry guys, it's been a long day. Anyway, they go for the Bullet Punch, doing nothing, but Kartana can easily clean up with the Leaf Blade. Tapu Koko was not there to outspeed and kill with the Thunderbolt. Now, Mimikyu, I believe, doesn't kill with a Play Rough, but I guess we're about to find out. Either way, it dies to Life Orb and Koko can live. Then the 95 Bulls have the game, which they do. So some plays were a bit off to me, but pretty good game regardless. Scarf Kieran was a nice spring, as was Expert Belt Gengar. Not sure about how well Sub Drill was versus their team, but it did something, so that's something to note. Maybe if BDG played Mimikyu a bit better, they might have been able to pull out a W, but other than that, nothing else much to say, but, you know, good game to both. So, next up we have the Asian Jigglypuffs versus the cksuckers, and once again they are facing another Kartana. Now I believe this is the game where Snorlax is Flamethrower. Yes, this is the game where Snorlax, I believe, is Assault Vest with the Facade with the Flamethrower for the Kartana. I also believe their Kartana is actually a check to the opposing Kartana. I believe they are Choppleberry with their own Sacred Sword Synthesis. No. They're Synthesis Hidden Power Fire Kartana. Yes, I remember now. To check the others. The other Kartana. I also believe they are Scarf Toxic Spikes Nihilego and Dragon Dance Habanberry Como. And I believe they are Hidden Power Steel, Hurricane, Taunt, something else Tornado T. Don't remember what the Lando set is, but let's hop right into the match. So they lead Como. I believe they are actually... No, they're not Dragon Dance, they're Rocks Habanberry Como. My bad. So they're probably going to try and get a T-Spike here. Yep, they do. And as mentioned before, the Asian Jigglypuffs have a really tough time dealing with hazards, T-Spikes in particular. But Snorlaxes they're switching. If they get a burn, they will be able to use Facade much more better as they go into Kartana, expecting a physical move, which they do. So now Torn can come out, I suppose, and Torn can take a Leaf Blade, unless it's a banded Leaf Blade, but now they have to switch, so they go into Como, probably trying to get rocks up at this point, but Milotic is now poisoned. If they had the Marvel Scale, they will have a defense boost. So they go for the Toxic there. But Como seems to have one job, and that's checking Zard at one point with that Bomberry. But if Mew burns Snorlax, they're going to be a bit boosted. Facade's going to do nothing until that happens, though. But they are defog Mew again. Despite, I think Mewtwo and EMZ needs to be used a bit more than they've been doing it so far, but just my opinion. So Milotic comes out. Probably going to get rocks again, I'd imagine. Yep. So they go for rocks. Waiting for an Aurora Veil to happen. Unless they have Brick Break, or unless the cksuckers have Brick Break or go for the defog, they're not going to be able to break the Aurora Veil. Let's see if they predict the Kartana. Ooh, they go for the Flamethrower. Yep, that's clean. That's clean. Anyway, they're going to go into Mew, probably to defog again, as they actually go to the Lanters. And I guess we're going to see if the Mew has the Ice Beam or not, and if Lando is Yachi Berry. So they go for Ice Beam, and it turns out they are the Yachi Berry. So So they go for the U-turn, just to get some momentum there. As I'm thinking that the Tornadus T is taunt, and they do go for the taunt. Again, guys, I've seen these replays before, so I kind of know what's going to happen beforehand, but just some ideas that are popping into my mind. Just verbalizing them, I guess. So Milotic comes in again, going for the recover. Not sure why they stayed in doing for the facade. Milotic would surely be able to wear it down. But they go to Kartana, which is interesting, I guess. But they are defensive Kartana, so I can see why. They go for the Leaf Blade, I believe, this turn. And that does a ton to Raikou. Let it be said that Raikou is not a switch into Kartana. But they live the Signal Beam. So I'm guessing Raikou is locked in some way. But now Torn can come in and go for a taunt, preventing any recovers from Milotic happening. As they do burn the Tornadus, unfortunately for the cksuckers. But Hurricane Spam is good at this point in the game. And Tornadus turned out to be Life Orb. Alright, alright. But now they're going to want to switch out to get some Regenerator back and potentially sack the Landers to the Hail. But now Nihilego can come out and pretty much clean the game. So Power Gym pretty much takes out everything on their team at this point. So definitely like how the cksuckers played the end game there. They knew what their win cons were and they played accordingly. Again, though, like the Asian Jigglypuffs at this point should be trying to think of some other way to stop Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks besides Defog Mew, because this has been their downfall for 2 games already. Anyway, next up we have the Asian Jigglypuffs versus the AIDS Doctors, but unfortunately for that match the Asian Jigglypuffs forfeited, so the win went to the AIDS Doctors. And next up we have the Asian Jigglypuffs versus the Heatrannies. Now, looking at team matchup, Mudsdale is there. Pretty good answer to Raikou and Charizard X, as is Jolteon, at least in the sense of a good answer to Raikou. Same with the Moongus. Sub Command Raikou could be an issue, but everything has to be weak in order for that to happen. Depending on the lander set, it could also be a huge threat. Same with the Whimsicott and Mew. But regardless, they don't really deal with Heatran too well either. Or Mega Gallade for that matter. But let's just see what happens in the match. So, they go for Ice Shard turn 1. Which I can understand why. If the Landorus Incarnate was Choice Scarfed, U-turn would have been doing a lot. But at the same time, Sneasel would have most likely been able to live. Maybe. I don't know. No man should ever really stay in with Landorus Eye against this Ice type, but I guess they tried to predict something. So Milotic comes in and they're Flame Orb. So if they had knocked off here, Milotic would have been much less of an issue. But they actually make a good double into Charizard X, and this is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. There is no reason why they shouldn't have Flare Blitzed. I know Heatran is fire immunity, but if you have the Earthquake for Heatran, then fire immunity is not an issue, if that makes sense. But I just don't agree with that play. But now they can Spore the Charizard, and Charizard is not going to have a good time taking Sludge Bomb damage in. Now they're going to switch out, finally, as they finally also Mega Evolve. Obviously don't want to stay into the Mudsdale, as Mudsdale can also get up rocks here. And it looks like, once again, rocks and hazards in general are just going to be punishing the Asian Jigglypuffs team. But Jolteon could come in and easily Volt Switch out of here. Landers is probably not going to switch in, but they go for the Empower Ice, so I guess it's a good thing Landers didn't switch in. But now they can go and do Raikou, I believe, to take any hit, as the opposing team just keeps going for Hidden Power Ice. Seems to be locked in, from what I can gather. But even sub Raikou isn't going to be doing much. Hidden Power Ice, like, despite doing that much damage, it's still not going to be enough to 2 KO. So they're going to go into Landers. as the opposing Heatrannies go for the heavy sign, which could play on their part. Probably expecting flying immunity landers to come in, but U-turn is going to reveal the rocky helmet on Amoonguss. So that's going to be definitely interesting. But they're actually Will-O-Wisp Mew as they they give him the flash fire boost. I guess scouting for the earthquake, they go into the Amoonguss. But judging by the set, it looks like that's not the case. It looks like they're probably Culver Berry, Dazzling Gleam, Defog Willow, if I had to guess, which would be correctly because I've seen the set. Anyway, they're just going to spam rocks at this point. Not sure why, because Mew is just going to keep defogging away and eventually, I believe, heal that turn. And now keep defogging these hazards, you know. With the burn, they're not going to be able to outstall the defog. So, okay. Yeah, I understand that. Anyway, now they can defog once again as Heatran's going to splash cannon. Okay. So, not sure why they didn't roost again. That's clearly not going to do enough, as they are the Sunny Beam, Solar Beam set probably, and that is actually very surprising. But let's see how much it does nothing to Charizard X. Let's see if they're Earth Power as well. If they go for the Earthquake, which they should, it reveals the Shuckleberry. Alright, so Earth Power is going to do clean some amount of damage to the Charizard, as now Landers can come in, and I'm guessing Amoonguss is going to switch in to take the U-turn, but they go for Stealth Rock. So that might be Scarf Stealth Rock. Maybe. Anyway, Whimsicott comes in now, and they can either Encore, or they can go for the Hidden Power Ground, maybe, if they have it. Nope, they go for U-turn. Okay. That's still going to do nothing to my Milotic. At this point, they pretty much need to Scald to kill, but if the Sunny Gate goes up, does it kill? So close. But now they got to switch in something to take the Solar Beam, and I don't think Whimsicott can take it very well, which they don't. Something to note is U-turn does not kill Heatran at this point. So now they have to choose their sack, as Solar Beam does not much to Mew, but it does outspeed, and it almost kills. Okay. So crit could potentially kill, and it does. Call me the prophet. Anyway, Raikou's going to be able to kill the Heatran with probably Hidden Power Ice, as Gallade can come out and pretty much take any hit from Raikou, as they're sacking Whimsicott now. This is a close combat. Milotic cannot take... Okay, so going back to this turn. So they kill Whimsicott with close combat. And they should always Earthquake here. There's really no reason not to U-turn, because A, they don't know, the Heatrannies don't know if you're Scarflanders yet. B, he has no ground immunities on his team. Amoonguss can come in, but regardless, if you U-turn, that'd also be terrible if Amoonguss came in. That'd probably be worse, actually. So, in no scenario there is that you shouldn't have Earthquaked. Anyway, I think that's a major misplay on their part, but they go for U-turn, as Gallade can now claim another kill, going for the close combat. And as you can see, that breaks through Flame Orb, Marvel Scale, Milotic, and Milotic goes down. So now Raikou can either kill or Landers can kill. So again, don't really agree with the sub play, because obviously he's going to stay in at this point. There's really no reason not to. Thunderbolt is going to kill the Gallade though. And now either Jolteon or Amoonguss or Sneasel, I guess. I'm not sure why he decided to risk the speed tie with Sneasel there. Definitely don't agree with that play either. But regardless, the game was theirs, as they can just Ice Shard pick off the Landers Incarnate. So good game to Heatrannies. Definitely some misplays on both sides, I believe. But regardless, let's just head right into the next match. Next up, we have the Asian Jigglypuffs versus the 95 Bulls. And the Asian Jigglypuffs have, I believe this is their final match for the division. Final match for the division. And they are bringing Aurora Veil versus a Sand team. Not sure how well that's going to go, but I'm sure we'll find out. If they are Sand Force Landers could maybe take advantage of that. Tapu Koko seems to do a lot to their team as well, as does the Excadrill. Yeah, it just looks like a tough match for Asian Jigglypuffs. Banded Heatar can break through their team, as can like Specs Gengar, and then of course Snorlax is there, so you know things are gonna be tough. But let's just hop right into the match. So they have the Raikou. They lead the Raikou as the opposing team leads the Gengar. They could go into Excadrill, or they could go into the Tyranitar. Not sure why they didn't go Excadrill. Maybe they're fearing the Aura Spear because they are shiny Raikou, so it is possible that this Raikou is Rash Nature with the Aura Spear. But no, they go for the Volt Switch, revealing they are Life Orb. Now, Tyranitar looks like it's more of a defensive set, judging by how much damage that did. So maybe it's like a Chople Berry variant. Or it could be Smooth Rock. But now, my Loda can come in and pretty much get rid of all the stat changes Snorlax attempted to set up with the Haze or with the Dragon Tail, depending. But they just go for Curse again. If they didn't have Haze, it could easily be game at this point, but the Asian Jigglypuffs prepped accordingly on that front. But now they can just throw up Toxics or Scalds if they wanted to. The Aurora Veil is going to prevent them from being KO'd at this point. Yeah, judging from that damage, they are definitely more of a bulky variant Tyranitar than offensive, as they're actually res. So that's definitely interesting. Sorry guys. They're not Sleep Talk either. So Mandibuzz can come in pretty much every time on the landers, as they are the Asian Jigglypuffs, as I said before, do not like hazards, and as it's shown each match, they just get pressured by him so much. They make good momentum plays, but at the same time, the momentum costs them health, which in turn will eventually cost them Mon. So I feel like their team needed a better way to deal with hazards throughout most of the journey. Anyway, Raikou can come in, take some sand damage, as we already know it's Life Orb. But see, they're just doubling out again, but that's punishing them because of how much the Rocks damage is doing. So I don't know. But Moonblast is going to do 0. As Snorlax is going to Body Slam, maybe get a para. Does get a para. But yeah, now they can go Tyranitar, basically stopping the Aurora Veil from happening. And the Blizzard from connecting, I guess. Moonblast is still going to do nothing compared to what a strong fairy type would do. Anyway, they're going to go into Snorlax there. Snorlax should be able to live one hit, even if they are superpower. Stone Edge is going to do a clean amount of damage to Mandibuzz, though. Looks like it's going to do a KO. But they're going to double out. Both of them are going to double out into Excadrill and into Milotic. So Milotic is slowly being pressured, though, by the burn and the sand. So maybe Excadrill with the Z move is going to be able to kill eventually. Tapu Koko comes out now, as I expect maybe a Recover. Yep, Recover comes out. Again, they really don't have many good Tapu Koko answers either. So they sack the Ninetales there, which is fair. But with Rocks up, they are being pressured. Nature's Madness is going to do exactly 30. But Volt Switch is going to be putting it in range of only one Life Orb hit left with Rocks up. Let's see if they're Defog Mew this time. They go for the Thunder Wave. Let's see. They go for the Rock Powers. So they finally bring the Mew Z. Very unfortunate though that the one time they bring offensive Mew, it doesn't work out that well with the Thunder Wave. Anyway, that's gonna do enough to take out Tapu Koko. Not sure how I feel about stacking that thing off, but Focus Miss is gonna do what it does best, and Focus Miss itself. Crunch is going to be able to kill the Mew off. Didn't really matter because Excadrill outsped the turn later, and Snorlax took a hit as well. But now Lando's going to be able to kill with the Stone Edge. Mandibuzz is gone, but now Gengar can come out. I believe we already concluded that Lando was Choice Scarfed as well. But Shadow Ball is going to be able to clean and take out the Raikou, as let's see if it's Scarf Lando. But Snorlax is not a switch into Landorus, despite how bulky it may look. Anyway, since the sand is up, Excadrill will be able to kill with Iron Head. or go for the substitute, I suppose, expecting the Milotic, and I'm expecting to see maybe a Swords Dance here. Yep, so it's going to go for the, most likely the Groundium Z at this point, but Excadrill can just keep spamming Swords Dance because the sand and the Flame Orb is just wearing Milotic down, so now they can go for the Z easily, although a nice play would have been for Landorus to double out, but, or Milotic to double out. Anyway, Charizard X is going to come in, as Excadrill actually goes for the Earthquake again, and I'm surprised they Mega there, because it could have been a 50-50 if they go for Earthquake or Rock Slide, but regardless. Excadrill is going to be able to clean up the game. So some odd plays on Asian Jigglypuff's part, mainly because they allowed Hazards to remain on the field for majority of the match, if not all the match. Not really much else to be said. Not sure about the 95 Bull sacking Coco either, but it worked out for them, so guess they're not complaining. Anyway, good game to both teams. As we now move on to the Cucksuckers' final 3 matches. First one versus the AIDS Doctors, and the matchup looks okay. I believe this is the one with the Dragon Dance Como O with the yes, I remember. So the Como O is soundproof for Mega Gardevoir's Hyper Voices, and Pyappa Berry for the Psychics. And I remember Greg saying that their plan was to set up with Gardevoir. Snorlax, don't remember what set. Yeah, I don't remember the other set, sorry guys. I guess we'll have to find out together. Anyway, hopping into the match, we got Torn versus the Rotom. Obviously not a good matchup for Torn, as they're going to U-turn out of there. Snorlax took nothing from that, as it should, as I believe... Okay, so Crobat's going to go for the taunt, probably stopping them from cursing up or anything, as they're actually Rocky Helmet, and I remember Greg told me this play that they're expecting Crobat to roost, obviously, otherwise why else would they go for the Earthquake? But Rotom's going to come out now and easily Volt Switch out of there. Garchomp is not a switch in to Rotom Wash. As now, I believe it's offensive Torn with the Empower Ground, obviously, and that's going to do a ton to the Heatran, as they can now get up rocks. They should U-turn out here. Yep. Gardevoir can just claim a kill now. Let's see what they go for. They go for the Wish, though, and I don't agree with that play, man. I just... no way you shouldn't have attacked there, but they go for the Volt Switch there, so... These Doctors are playing Rotom very well, as Snorlax takes that 32 from Wish, so not as much as you want it to take, but Crobat goes for the Brave Bird, as they go for the Heat Wave. Stone Edge is going to do a clean amount. I believe they have Rockium Z, so if they went for the Rockium Z, they would have been able to kill, but Stealth Rocks is on the field now, and both teams are now pressured, so Rotom is forced to default. Well, not forced, but they are if they want to bring in Crobat again. But now it's Gardevoir versus Gardevoir. And the Cucksuckers do not want to stay in, as they can take a Hyper Voice, and it turns out they are not Assault Vest. So trying to probably kill the Torn with the Rocky Helmet, or attempting to, they go into Crobat then, as now they go into the Garchomp with the Rough Skin. But Garchomp is going to be able to set up with Swords Dance, but take a foul play. That's very foul of them, but... Now Garchomp can get a kill with the Hyper Voice, but Torn can come in and go for the Empower Ground, killing off the Garchomp. And it looks like Torn T is going to be able to dominate this match, as Rotom goes for the Hydro Pump, so good play on their part. But now Gardevoir can come in and eventually just sack itself off, so either Torn can win the game or Como O can. Yep, at this point it appears that Como O is probably going to attempt to win the game by Dragon Dancing up, as the AIDS Doctors go for the Lava Plume Burn. Unfortunately, do not get it. Drain Punch is going to be able to kill the Heatran. Dragon Claw, probably the Rotom, and Poison Jab is going to be able to 2-KO the Celebi. But because Coma O is the hot Piaba berry. They're going to be able to take that relatively well. And now Rotom is going to go down, so good game to both teams. Some interesting prep with the Rocky Helmet Crobat, as well as the Life Orb Celebi. And in contrast to that, the Torn T-Set was fairly decent, as well as the Dragon Dance Coma O. The only play that had me a bit weirded out was the Wish Gardevoir when they first wished. But other than that, good game to both teams. Now, next up we have the cksuckers versus the Heatrannies. Now, looking at team matchup, Kartana could win the game, as could Tornadus Therian. But something to note is that the cksuckers do not have a very good Banded Azumarill switch in if the Heatrannies get the move correct. So, yeah. They also struggle a bit with Mega Gallade, but we'll see how they deal with that. So, they lead with Mega Gardevoir, as the opposing team leads with the Jolteon. They go for the Volt Switch. Cleans amount of damage, as the Hidden Power Ground is... they make a big boy play and go for the Hidden Power Ground on the Heatran. Smart on them, as now the Rotom is most likely going to Hydro Pump. Yep. So Jolteon is taking over half from that, as they'll switch out into Landorus, maybe Yashi Berry, but no, they predict the Volt Switch immaculately, and now they can go and do Hoopa, but ooh, the Heatrannies get him again with that Volt Switch, so very good play on their part. They don't know if Hoopa Unbound is Scarf yet, so they can't stay in with Gallade, as multiple doubles just completely changed the field of battle. So now it's Lando versus Heatran. They call them on their bluff and go for the Stealth Rock on the Landorus, but now Landorus isn't going to be able to kill that Heatran, as they just attack the Lando. I guess they're expecting maybe a knockoff prediction, but Lando's gone. But now Kartana is out, and they go for the knockoff, and that does absolutely pitiful damage. I believe Greg told me that it was supposed to be speed boost, but they messed up the EVs, and that may or may not speed boost boosting Kartana with Timid. That may or may not become a factor in this game. Who knows? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Anyway, they're Wish Gardevoir again, and they get Thunder Waved again. So common theme throughout most of these matches. But Jolteon goes down, as maybe Banded Azumarill can come out, but that does a ton of damage, as they unfortunately miss the play rough, as Gardevoir goes for the Wish one more time. Don't necessarily agree with that play, but they get crit, as Kartana can now come in and Swords Dance. And again, if they are the speed boosting Kartana, they pretty much win the game. But they're not. Oh, that's brutal. So, as you can see, Greg is clearly blaming one of his teammates here for the poor team building that was made in building the Kartana set. But it's looking like it's going to be a lot closer than it should have been. Sneasel's going to be able to kill the Hoopa with the Ice Shard. Not sure if the crit mattered. It could have just been a roll. But Kartana comes out, and Kartana takes damage and obviously, and dies. So now what it's going to come down to is, okay, here's the thing. Ice Shard plus Shadow Sneak from Mega Gallade does kill the Torn. However, if they're not Shadow Sneak, Torn has a chance to win the game. And they have a chance to win the game if they connect a Hurricane. But now, because they're not speed boosting Kartana, they easily have a chance not to win. And this could be, I'm pretty sure this is one of the deciding factors in who makes it to bracket. So let's see if that team building caused them to lose out. But nope, you guys already kind of saw the animation for that, so my fault for that. But yeah, they managed to pull off the 1-0 win, so congrats to them. Again, if it had been speed boosted Kartana, you know, would have been a lot easier. But not much else to be said. Mega Gallade was a huge issue. I think they dealt with that okay. If it was Vacuum Wave Mega Glade for the Kartana, then who knows? Who knows what would have happened? But regardless, yeah, let's just hop right into the next match. Again, guys, I apologize for slurring my words and rambling on about stuff. But continuing on, we got the Cucksuckers final match versus the 95 Bulls. Now, let's just hop right into the match. No, let's go over the team a bit. So, 95 Bulls have Mega Medicham, Coco, Gengar, T-Tar, Manabuzz, Snorlax. And looking at their team, Banded T-Tar does a lot to the Cucksuckers team, as does Medicham. They really have no Medicham switching. Not really. That plus Coco could definitely prove a huge issue to their team. Kartana can be dealt with Mandibuzz somewhat, and Coco does outspeed, so does Scarf Gengar, so I'm interested to see how they play it out. The Gengar also absorbs T-Spike, so that may not be an option for the Cucksuckers, but with that being said, let's hop right into the match. So they lead T-Tar, and we're about to find out if it's Scarftar. As it turns out, it is, but it is also Sash and Lego, as they decide to get up rocks. And they stay in, probably expecting 95 Bulls to switch out, but no. They predict the staying in and go for the crunch, as now doubles begin to commence. They make a big play there by doubling out into Gardevoir, expecting the Mandibuzz. They definitely want the rocks to stay up on the field, so they're going to be trying to make big plays most of the match, as Psyshock is going to be able to do almost over half with the sand, but Focus Miss, will be able to come through for once and kill the Snorlax. But now Gengar can come out and easily click the freest Shadow Ball of its life, and unfortunately, with that Spadef, it's not gonna. So, because Gengar got the Spadef drop, it's not a roll anymore for Gengar Shadow Ball to kill, and that's definitely unfortunate for the Cucksuckers, because at this moment they really have no switch-ins to Shadow Ball, and it's looking like it's not Specs. It's looking more of a Scarf variant, maybe, or something along those lines. But they go for Shadow Ball again, killing the Rotom Wash, and that is huge. But now Kartana can come out, as we find out that the Gengar is not Scarfed. It is actually Spooky Plate. So I guess they calculated that damage earlier to find out how much Scarf Guard did, and that obviously I guess did more. But since the knockoff is obviously disabled, Mandibuzz can come out and easily defog. But just like that, so can Gardevoir, and now they pretty much have to choose a sack. Freest Hyper Voice of their life. Let's see if they go for it. They do not. They go for the Trick Room. Shame on them. But now they go into Landorus, and again, Landorus is very bulky. Can take on Scarf T-Tar, and they go for the Explosion. Also, shame on them for that. But Trick Room is up, and now they're back into Gardevoir, and because it's Scarf Tar and it's weakened, they can kill with the Hyper Voice. If Medicham is the Bullet Punch, they're going to have some trouble. And as it is seen, it is. So they expected the Bullet Punch, as now they're going to go into Tapu Koko most likely, and they don't really have very many Tapu Koko answers. So freest Thunderbolt of their life. Torn T is gone. Now Kartana can come out, and even if it's Scarf Tailwind, exactly. So now they have a chance. So Scarf Hyper Voice is going to be able, not Scarf, but Hyper Voice is going to be able to kill the Coco. If Medicham has the Fake Out and Bullet Punch, they win the game, but they do not. And Gardevoir is actually going to be able to sweep with the Tailwind, despite the initial mishap of Trick Room. So, definitely don't agree with some of their plays there, but I guess it worked out. Nice call on bringing a Tailwind and the bluff Trick Room. Definitely was a very interesting game to watch, but with that being said, Scarftar was also a pretty good call, in my opinion. And maybe if they had Fake Out, they for sure would have won, but regardless, on to the next match. So, last three matches, well, the next match we're going to do is the AIDS Doctors versus the Heatrannies. Now,
you can't tell me what it feels like to wake up next to a woman and feel truly happy.
Mega Glade has a fun time versus their team. They really don't have much of a switch in to Mega Glade. So they're going to have to find some way to play around that. Poison Jab does a ton to Azumarill and Gardevoir and Celebi for that matter. Both have Heatrannies, both have Azumarils. Yeah, the main big threat I can see for the AIDS Doctors is Mega Glade. On opposing that, though, I suppose Garchomp is also a huge threat for the Heatrannies because they do not have a ground immunity. So if they're Scarf Garchomp, they could potentially win the game that way. But let us find out. So they lead Amoonguss as the opposing team leads Garchomp. Might be Scarf, might not be, but they are Sap Sipper Azumarill, so that is very interesting to note. As they double into Heatran, probably expecting a poison move. Volt Switch is kind of free. I guess Garchomp can switch in, but they didn't want to risk it. But they go for Stealth Rust with the Heatran. As the Heatran tries to Earth Power, interesting. But Toxic is going to eventually wear the Rotom down. Garchomp can come out, I guess, and go for the Earthquake. Pretty free Earthquake. I believe that crit definitely, I want to say, kind of mattered. I think it determined whether or not a roll killed the next turn. Are they Z Garchomp? They are Z Garchomp, so the Heatrannies definitely have to be aware of that. The move would definitely kill anything on this team at the moment, unless something is air ballooned. But Garchomp is just going to be able to pick that off with another Earthquake. So that leads me to believe it might be Scarfed. Doesn't want to take an Ice Shard, obviously, or Icicle Crash for that matter. So they go into Azumarill, but with that Rock's damage, plus the next Rock's damage, I believe they are going to be able to kill Sneasel with next Earthquake. But now it turns out it's Sap Sipper Azumarill Belly Drum, and that's pretty insane, because now Aqua Jet's going to be able to kill the Jolteon. And that's just crazy. That's just crazy. So Mega Glade comes out, but Mega Glade can take a Sap Sipper Belly Drum Azumarill. So Azu goes down, but with Glade weakened, Scarf Chomp can just clean up very easily. And if it is Scarf Chomp, but Shuckleberry does not matter for the Heatran. Azu obviously needs some prior damage from the Earthquake. So so basically the Heatrannies' only play really at this point is to preserve Azu, because if they don't, Scarf Chomp will win the game. So unfortunately they take a Volt Switch. So now, even with the Citrus Berry, it's not going to matter. Now they go into Heatran to sack it off, as they actually go for the substitute, which is actually really interesting. But the Ace Doctor is actually Pasho Berry, so they take that Aqua Jet fairly well, as now the Aqua Jet is not even going to be able to kill due to it not being banded. The Will-O-Wisp is going to be able to burn the Azu so that it can't really do anything else. Not sure why they go Celebi. Actually, I do know why they go Celebi. So, I'm not sure what the role is for Ice Shard on Garchomp, but Celebi can always sub up on Huge Power Burn Azumarill, unless it's like knockoff, but it doesn't appear they are. So now Celebi can pretty much clean the game with the Energy Ball, or at least weaken Sneasel enough that something else can kill. So very good game to the AIDS Doctors there. Energy Ball isn't going to be enough to kill, but they go into Rotom Wash, as his Icicle Crash is not going to be able to do much. I believe Rotom lives a knockoff because they are not Life Orb. And Volt Switch will be able to kill the Sneasel, preserving the 4-0 differential, as they can now go into Scarf Garchomp, cleaning up a clean match. So, very good game to the Ace Doctors. They knew what their win cons were, and they played accordingly. The Heatrannies' main flaw in their team structure, I believe, was not having a ground immunity. And, yeah, overall just being weak to things like Garchomp. But yeah, that Sap Sipper Belly Drum Azumarill definitely caught them off guard, as it did myself. So good prep on their part. And yeah, let's move on to the next match. So next up we have the AIDS Doctors versus the 95 Bulls. And the 95 Bulls have the Mega Medicham. So they're going to have to, the AIDS Doctors are going to have to choose their sack when that thing comes in. Z Extra Drill can definitely do a ton this match. Mana Buzz is required pretty much for the Beware and the Garchomp. Belly Drum Azumarill could also be a huge threat for the 95 Bulls, and I don't see how they mitigate that unless they are fake out Bull Punch Mega Medicham. But let's see what they do this match. So they lead Coco, as the opposing team leads the Mega Gardevoir, and very good lead by Balloon Coco because that takes on lead Garchomp fairly well and can always Volt Switch or U-turn out. But Gardevoir just goes for the side shock, and that does a ton to Snorlax. Beware comes out, and Beware takes nothing. So Facade does 0 pretty much. Mandibuzz can come out now. SD Beware can do a ton to Mandibuzz, but that Thunder Punch boosted Electric Terrain does a ton to Mandibuzz back, as they make a good read into Gengar. Now, Gengar can click Sludge Wave easily at this point. It's not going to do much to Spadef Rotom, as you soon find. But they make a good read by Hydro Pumping the Extra Drill switch in, so very good play on their part. But now Medicham can come in, and Medicham can click High Jump Kick or Drain Punch and pretty much claim a kill. So now Garchomp comes in as Air Balloon Coco comes out, so good play on their part. They could go for Poison Jab, although that's unlikely. And now I expect Coco to probably U-turn or Volt Switch or Thunderbolt on this predicted switch. And you'd think that Beware would take a lot, but obviously that is Assault Vest, and that took not as much damage as it should have. So now they U-turn right back out into Gengar, but the Electric Terrain boosts the Thunder Punch and even para the Gengar, so that is very unfortunate for them. Maybe if Gengar has Trick or something along those lines in a Scarf, but it's not, and it dies to the Volt Switch, so that's very unfortunate for the 95 Bulls. But now Medicham can come back out, and Medicham can claim a kill. So, Garchomp comes in on the Bull Punch. Good read on their part. Kind of obvious, but good read, as they Stone Edge the predicted Mandibuzz. And now they have to hit another one, but Mandibuzz U-turns out. Now, I understand why they made that play. I don't really agree with it, though. Because, well, no, I understand it. So, if they doubled into Gardevoir, then basically they lost the bond anyway. I guess this serves a flying immunity for the 95 Bulls. But now Medicham can also come out and go for the Drain Punch, getting a 2 KO on the Rotom Wash. And things, like I said before, they do not have a Mega Medicham switching. Azu comes out. Poison Jab is going to do way too much to Azu, taking that out eventually. They should have gone Garchomp, but they did not. They go for the Earthquake again, as Mandibuzz goes for the Roost. And now Mandibuzz should 100% U-turn out and go into the Medicham. And that Volt turn, well, not the Volt, but that U-turn, man, that was just killer this match. Medicham got a kill whenever it came out. I'm pretty sure it's Scarf Garchomp, which is why they were locked in the Stone Edge or Earthquake, pretty sure, as we'll find out now. But, yeah, honestly, the U-turn momentum just really tilted the favor in the 95 Bulls match. And as you can see, the 95 Bulls go for the differential win as they keep doubling out of Coco and Medicham on the Stone Edge. So, yeah, they go for the Ice Punch. Although I will say, maybe 2 Stone Edge high roll crits could have won them the game. But regardless, good game to both teams. Not much to be said. AV Beware was definitely an interesting bring. I can understand why they brought it too, because they needed something for Snorlax. But moving on to the last and final match, we have the Heatrannies versus the 95 Bulls. So, we've seen a bunch of teams face Mega Medicham, but we have not seen an actual counter to Mega Medicham yet, but now we have. So, the Heatrannies have the Cofagrigus, and they decided to bring out this match. And I just realized what I said was really lame, but whatever. It's been a long day. Anyway, so, Tapu Koko I could see dominating the team, as does Mudsdale for that matter. Mudsdale could potentially be a huge problem for the 95 Bulls. Same with Mega Gallade if they can weaken the Mandibuzz just a bit. Although I will see when I see this team, I see Mega Gallade putting in a bunch, and then like a bunch of work, and then also Banded Azumarill cleaning up afterward. Just definitely a possibility as they use Mudsdale, Kofag, and Jolteon to take on their offensive presence. Anyway, let's just hop right into the match and see what happens. They lead Mudsdale, and let's see what they go for. So they going for the flinch. I like it. Not scummy at all. Anyway, they get the defense raise, so they'll be able to live another one and get another boost off. But Mudsdale reveals the rest, and right off the bat, that's huge. Because that means the 95 Bulls have a really, really tough time breaking this type of Mudsdale, especially because it's Sleep Toxic and probably Earthquake. That Toxic Miss on Mana Buzz is huge, though. Huge. Because with the Toxic, it can't come in on Mega Glade or Azumarill as well. But now the 95 Bulls pull out all stops and they go for the Destiny Bond. Very good play on their part, trying to get rid of the one thing that pretty much 6-0'd their entire team. But Glade comes out and Glade clicks close combat, and as you can see, that Toxic would have come in clutch. It would have allowed excuse me. It would have allowed Glade to set up a lot easier and potentially kill the close combat at a later point. But now Mandibus has to roost in order to come in on Glade later, as now they double back out into Jolteon, then back it out into Azumarill, and Superpower is able to claim a kill. Very good play by the Heatrannies. Drill can come out, and Drill can attempt to claim a kill as well. Z Earthquake is going to kill, or heavily weaken nearly everything on the Heatrannies team. They go for the Aqua Jet. Not sure how I feel about sacking their Wincon. I deem Azumarill as one of their Wincon if it's banded, so I don't know how I feel about that at all, really. But they go, so the Heatrannies make a play, right? They know the 95 Bulls have Substitute, so they go for this. they go for the Willow Miss, predicting the Excadrill not to Substitute, because they were predicting them not to Willow because they have Substitute. So very good play on their part. But they are burned now, and they are severely weakened. Earthquake is going to not do as much as it did before, as Hex is going to come into play. But now Excadrill is able to do a clean amount of damage to Amoonguss, even though it is burned. Medicham can come out though, and Medicham can try and claim a kill. They shouldn't have gone into... Not sure how I feel about going to Kofag. Maybe sacking something else was a play like Amoonguss. Amoonguss only really dealt with Coco, but maybe Jolteon could. I don't know. I don't know their sets at this point. So they go into Kofag and die to 2 Zen Headbutts. As Jolteon comes out now, and Jolteon can freely Volt Switch if it wants to. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the play. I believe Volt Switching into Amoonguss might have been better. And like Sludge Bombing spam. I think that could have won them the game if they Volt Switch into Amoonguss there, and pretty much, yeah, what I said. Again, Coco could be Brave Bird, but the fact that they doubled, now they go for Roost there. U-Turn's going to be able to do a lot as they go for Sludge Bomb there. And now, I believe, they U-turn into Medicham, as they should always Sludge Bomb here as well. Toxic can be doing its job, as now they need to sack something else. Glade is the sack, apparently. And now, Jolteon can Volt Switch on out of there. Coco can come out. And now it's pretty much a 50-50. If Coco U-turns and Jolteon stays in... No. Okay, so here... Let me think about this. So, if Coco U-turns, Medicham dies. If Jolteon hard doubles into Amoonguss, they win the game. So, just to clarify, because I know I'm not probably being too clear, but it's pretty much 50-50 at this point. If Coco U-turns and Jolteon attacks, Medicham dies, and the 95 Bulls win the game. However, if the 95 Bulls expect the Heatrannies to stay in and attack, I just lost myself in train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, what matters is it's down to a 50-50. So they go for the Volt Switch. Jolteon appears to outspeed, and if they go for the U-turn or anything else, that is game. But now Amoonguss' play is always the Sludge Bomb. They get parried, actually. And that is pretty much game at this point. They go for Zen Headbutt, but not even a Bullet Punch is going to kill the Jolteon. Just to clarify, the point that I was making was that was a 50-50, depending on what kind of switches they made. But yeah, again, sorry guys for the slurring and the rambling, but this was the second time recording this, although this time I did it by myself. But that is the last match of the fan division, and you know what? We got through it. We got through it, guys. I'd like to thank you all for participating in TMT. This isn't the last division match that we're doing. We're also going to go through the bracket matches as well as a live recording of the finals match if possible. So look forward to that, I guess. But yeah, this was the fan division, and also shout outs to the fan division for actually playing most, if not all, of their matches. Not many of the other divisions pulled that off, so I want to thank you guys for that. But with that being said, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more TMT content. Peace.